recreating the world of slain designer Gianni Versace for FX's new season of American Crime Story was a unique challenge, especially without the support of the headlining brand itself. Costume designer Lou Ehrich had only 5 weeks and a limited budget to collect as many authentic 90s Versace pieces as she could for the 9-episode series, which tells the story of both Gianni's killer and the designer's decadent final days. Several episodes also flash back to milestone moments during his and his sister Donatella's ascent, as they became the sexy couturiers of Madonna, Elton John, Courtney Love, and more. There were days when there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us from the costume department just sitting at computers on eBay and Etsy and 1st Dibs, calling high-end vintage stores across the states, just trying to locate whatever Versace we could get our hands on, says Ehrich. We were collecting at breakneck speed. For the pieces that were unavailable or simply too expensive for the American Crime Story budget, like the sensational gold-studded black leather gown Donatella actually wore to the 1996 Met Ball, Ehrich had to get creative, speedily producing outfits that were both respectful of and representative of the luxury brand's designs, yet different enough from the originals that their production was legal. We tried to recreate the Met Ball dress as closely as we could, says Ehrich of the gown, which features prominently into Donatella's character arc. All of the hardware is cast in gold. The hardest part was finding the leather that would drape similarly. And then we had to find the actual Versace boots and belt that she wore with the dress, which we were able to find in Miami. Watch now, Ridley Scott does a complete timeline of Ridley Scott where ACS's premiere season, The People v. O.J. Simpson, took great pains to investigate the lives of the lawyers behind the trial of the 20th century. Versace isn't nearly as preoccupied with the lives of the people who make up the justice system. You'll see the police officer hot on the trail of Versace's villain, serial killer Andrew Cunanan, Darren Criss at his most frightening, but you shouldn't expect to check in with their kids every week. Or, for that matter, even remember if these cops have kids. Although this is mostly a good choice on the anthology's part, it means fans will see less of Orange is the New Black Staska Polanco, who plays Miami Beach detective Lori Weeder. The real-life cop was one of the 2 openly gay members of the police force during the actual 1997 hunt for Andrew Cunanan, according to the book Versace was based upon, Vulgar Favors. Since ACS takes great pains to explore the pervasive homophobia of the late 90s, it would have been great to see the miniseries explore the perspective of lesbian woman of color in such a traditionally conservative, male world. Alas, with all but 1 episode made available to critics, it looks like Versace didn't find the time for such a deep dive. While the lack of much law enforcement intrigue means less of Polanco, her button-ups, and certain nuanced looks at the LGBTQ+ sphere, it means there is a lot more time to spend with the person who commits Versace's titular assassination, Chris Andrew, and the victim of that assassination, iconic designer Gianni Versace, Edgar Ramirez. Thanks to the lush settings, beautiful clothes, and so good their scary performances, it's extra time you'll appreciate. We first meet these men on the morning one of them will slaughter the other on the steps of his own home. We know little about them other than the fact Cunanan is a person clearly battling some dangerous demons. Versace, on the other hand, starts his tranquil mornings by putting on his self-designed boxer briefs. Cunanan screams on the beach while carrying around a gun and an obsession with powerful men. Versace takes in the views of that beach from his overwhelmingly grand seaside palace. These are 2 men who seem like they couldn't live in worlds farther apart. The trick of Crime Story Season 2 is in trying to convince you murderer and victim aren't very different at all. Chris' version of Cunanan, like all true-to-life reports of the infamous serial killer, reveals a shockingly likable, charismatic man, in a similar style to Versace's genuine, beloved presence. The only difference is, Cunanan's charming persona masks a violent, disturbing bit of cruelty. We're not dealing with the generally unattractive, immediately unnerving imprisoned murderers of Mindhunter here. Rather, Cunanan is a predator who hunts by camouflage. Because his hunting grounds are the highest, most expensive echelons of gay culture, he perfectly embodies the ideals of that time. He's handsome. He's inviting. He has the right watch. Even though Cunanan is actually a serial killer, it's difficult not to enjoy simply seeing him move through the less bloody portions of Versace, and that's the point. All of those little feigned personality manipulations are what helped Andrew Cunanan get away with actual murder for so long. But, Cunanan isn't all flash and likability. He's also an obsessive killer who ended the lives of at least 5 men. That is why most people I've talked to about the show immediately yell, "Darren Criss is so scary," and admit to having nightmares about the guy best known for being Blaine from Glee. Darren Criss is so scary in Versace, putting on and removing Andrew Cunanan's many masks: affable, gay up-and-comer, heterosexual fashionista, stone-cold killer, on a second-by-second basis solely rooted in whatever suits him best in a precise moment. At times, you watch him copy emotions obvious to others around him as a simple way to go sight unseen. It's chilling. If people's first reaction to Crime Story Season 2 is to shriek in terror over Andrew Cunanan, their second is, and should be, swooning over the strength of Penelope Cruz as Gianni Versace's devastated, famed sister Donatella Versace. Many people could be considered the beating heart of the series, including Gianni himself or his bereaved boyfriend Antonio D'Amico, Ricky Martin, but Donatella is its unquestionable powerhouse. From the second you see a grief-stricken Donatella in all her platinum blonde glory enter the proceedings, still wearing an all-leather ensemble despite the Miami heat, you know she isn't here to play. And play she does not, moving from stone-willed businesswoman to furious sister to heartbroken woman and back again with ease. As a well-known crier, it's no surprise seeing Donatella stumble through her own brother's bloody murder scene and deal with the subsequent shocking trauma brought me to tears. But, I doubt I'll be the only one frantically searching for tissues while taking in Cruz's homage to Donatella.